Hello from Bergen. We're here today with a very special guest. Again, we're the Metal Pit. We traveled all the way to Norway for the Beyond the Gates Festival just to meet this guy to my left.
Hello.
Grutle from ENSLAVED.
Hello. Cheers.
Cheers. One more cheers. So today we're gonna pick his brain about this awesome city. If you've never been here, we recommend coming here. It's a beautiful city. The festival so far has been incredible. This is only the second day. ENSLAVED will be playing on Saturday, a very special set. Actually, this set will be the third set of your very special concert series where you retell or reimagine some of the older albums.
Yeah, it's also the third album.
And the third album, yeah. So yeah, they'll be reimagining and playing the entirety of Eld. Is it done in a more contemporary type ENSLAVED style?
Both yes and no. I mean, the arrangements and the order of the songs and the order of the it's the same structure of the song. We have done some minor changes to the pace. Mm-hmm. Because some of the riffs were like it had too much of the youth gone wild element.
Right.
So some of the riffs, some of the parts of the song didn't sound good. So we just like turned down the tempo, the pace a little bit on some of the in some of the songs. But I would say it's like 90% like the recording.
Okay. Yeah.
Hopefully, better performed than on the recordings in 1996. Because I hope we have become better musicians in almost 30 years. I really hope so. But I mean, it's still some great energy on the album, and we try to perceive that keep that energy intact, so to speak, while adding some experience and skills to it. Hopefully.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
And when you started this series, the special concert series, what was the reason behind it? Is it just because you wanted to revisit these albums and give new fans or older fans a different experience, or was there, as you mentioned, did you feel that maybe those songs needed a better approach, and it was a challenge for you guys maybe to do that?
Absolutely a challenge. But I mean, it was initiated by the festival and by the festival general Torgrim Øyre.
Mm-hmm.
He obviously loves those albums for some reason.
That's a good album.
So, well, basically, he asked us. Was that in 2016, I think, or maybe 17? He asked us to do the debut album, Vikinlinger Veldig. Mm-hmm. He asked us if we could be interested in revisiting that area, and we always had ever since we recorded the album, when it was released, it was released through Death Like Silence Productions after Euronymous' death. So it kind of came out and disappeared because all the releases that were, all the albums that were recorded prior to his death, they were handled by a company called Voices of Wonder that handled the distribution for the Death Like Silence albums. So all those releases they were released on CD, and they were like absolutely no promotion, so that they quickly came out and disappeared.
Right.
But there's been a growing demand from the fans to listen to some of the songs from that album, and we rarely play. The songs are so long; it's like 5 songs, and there's like 50.
Yes, 58 minutes.
58 or something like that. So it was kind of hard to justify putting like even one song from that album into a 45 minutes set list, because I mean we have 16 albums to pick from, So Torgrim in Beyond the Gates kind of said, why not just play the whole album? And we said, yeah, sure. We kind of like that album because it's really different from what we did later, and at the same time it has also some of the same vibe that we picked up a lot later in our career. It's very inspired by like krautrock, German electronica, Kraftwerk, Neu, and stuff like that. You know, the structure, I like repetitive, hypnotic riffs.
So at that time, you guys were listening?
Oh yeah, lots of Tangerine Dream and Klaus Schulze, Kraftwerk, and stuff like that.
Right.
That was a huge inspiration for that album, actually.
Now, I'm curious, do those elements come out more in this reimagining, or?
They kind of came back later on the more recent albums. I mean, from Utgard and Heimdall also. I guess everything goes in circles, and it was really interesting to revisit Viking Reveldi that was recorded in 1993 and kind of discover or rediscover that some of the elements are exactly the same.
Right.
You know, well, the mindset in some of the arrangements and writing are kind of they have gone circle.
Okay.
So yeah.
Cool. And how involved are the new guys in this retelling or reimagining? Like when you get together to practice, is everybody involved, or is it just you and Ivar who kind of decide where the direction of?
I mean, the arrangements are there. I mean,
they exist.
On the recordings. I mean, so we basically on all these albums, old albums we have done, we have like individually, each one of us have rehearsed for a couple of weeks, and then we meet and make the necessary changes.
Right.
And I mean, we haven't done that many changes on any of those three albums. They are, like I said, at least 90% true to the original arrangements.
As an example, though, would Ivar Sandoy, does he do any clean vocals on this particular version?
No, he doesn't. Okay. No, not because he's got a handful with all. There's a lot of blasting, especially on Eld. There's a lot of.
Who was the drummer on Eld at the time?
It was a friend of ours called Harald Helgeson.
Okay, yeah.
He was just on that album.
Right.
So there ain't that much breath left for him on the album to do any vocals. So
he'll need a mask.
He would need extra oxygen, like Keith Richards, to do any vocals on this. So no, not.
Well, you're giving him a break then. Yeah,
we are.
So,
yeah.
Okay, cool. Now, since we're in Bergen, and this festival is a big festival in Bergen, and you guys originally started in Bergen. Little later, right?
A little later, actually.
Yeah. I'm curious to know, if you think back, the relationship Enslaved has with this city and how important it might have been for some of those early albums, and what your relationship is to the city now, and if it had any influence in your music at the time.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, the first concert we ever performed, that was the band me and Eva used to be in before Enslaved. It was a death metal band called Phobia. And I think the very first concert we ever did with that band was in Bergen, at a bar called Garage.
Yeah. Which is now Stereo, correct?
Yeah. It was 16th of April 1991.
Wow.
And we played, it was us and Old Funeral, a death metal band from Bergen. We were supporting a band from Fredrikstad called Cadaver.
Cadaver, okay.
Because they have released an LP called Hallucinating Anxiety. So
nice.
So we had like a 3-band concert. Actually 2 concerts, because it was like in the middle of the day. It was like a concert for the underaged, and then we had like a concert in the evening for the regular beer drinkers and hellraisers. Yeah.
Cool.
And so our relationship with Bergen as a band came very early, and the first full length we recorded was recorded in Grieghallen. The second was in Grieghallen, and so on. So and we all the time we kind of belonged to the Bergen music scene, because the place we grew up and the place we had a our rehearsal place in a town called Haugesund. There wasn't a real scene, you know. It was basically just the three of us and some friends, you know.
Yeah.
So, so we did belong to the Bergen scene, although back then it was the infrastructure was a little bit different and not so developed back then. So it took like 3.5, 4 hours to get to Bergen.
Wow.
Back then.
Yeah.
So, but although I mean, still we were kind of part of the Bergen scene.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned garage. I heard a rumor that you used to work the door at the garage.
I did for 10 years. Yeah.
10 years.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Very cool. I noticed that.
Very cool. I mean, no, it wasn't very cool.
No, not very cool.
Well, yeah, it was you know.
Well, you were touring too, and obviously when you weren't touring, you were over there.
Yeah, I worked part-time for
Yeah.
10 years, and
Yeah.
we had some we had some fun. We had some, I mean, being a doorman, a bouncer is like, of course, obviously, ups and downs. But I mean, it was kind of it was an easy buck in between tours.
Yeah.
Obviously, and it's almost impossible to live in a country like Norway without having, as musicians, without having some side jobs.
Right. Yeah.
Of some sort. So it was really, really convenient, and it was basically I was hanging with friends every day, you know.
Yeah.
So it was cool.
And kind of cool to see that the door handles are the Spielman Awards that you guys won.
Well, not just us. It was several bands donated their awards to Garage. We had,
Right.
I think it was 4. Yeah, we had 4 of them in Garage, and there were at least 1, 2, 3, 4 other bands. I think. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Awesome.
Yeah, so it was a little Spellemann museum. Right
Yeah.
there,
Yeah. Definitely.
yeah.
Now, we touched on this earlier, where you talked about your various influences, even back in '97 with Eld. I know that you guys have eclectic influences. I know you are a big Voivod fan.
I mean, who isn't?
Yeah, who isn't? Have you heard the new release?
The re-recordings.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's different. Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah. It's. I mean, I would prefer, of course, new album. I love the Synchro Anarchy and
Yeah.
the Wake.
Yeah.
But I revisiting is I mean, we are doing the same thing on
Yeah,
Saturday.
absolutely.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
why not? Why not? I mean, I've only listened through it like 2 or 3 times. It's
Right.
I mean, it's Voivod, of course. It's great. No?
Yeah,
So
it's
that's
a
one
Voivod
great-
album. You got to listen to it.
Yeah, of course.
Listen to it in the car a few times, and it brought back a lot of memories from the '80s. You know, it just has that vibe.
Same thing.
Yeah.
But I've listened to it like twice or 3 times in the car. Obviously, need to buy it on wax and crack some beers by myself.
Sit down
and
proper.
Sit down properly and listen
Yeah.
to it. And that's a way to listen to a Voivod album. Not,
Absolutely.
Not while driving.
Yeah. Have you met those guys actually?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah. Friends and.
Yeah. I mean, we're not close friends, but I mean, we're friends. We
Any chance of a collaboration ever in the future? How incredible would that be?
that would be cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't write it off.
Yeah.
I'll call Snake.
Are they Enslaved fans themselves? Do you know, or at least aware?
Oh, they are aware, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I think I've never asked them actually, but I mean, yeah.
Kind of a weird question to ask.
They kind of know that I'm a Voivod fan.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Very cool. So I was going to ask about all these different influences. You know, throughout contemporary Enslaved albums, you've had not many lineup changes, but a few. How difficult is it for you guys to kind of balance that old school sound, you know, the original kind of Enslaved sound, with the contemporary sound? Do you find it a challenge? Like, do you find that with each successive album, you're growing away from that, and that you have to kind of step back and say, look, we need to...
No, not at all. I mean,
Is it just really natural?
yeah.
Yeah.
It may sound very simple, and in many ways it is, because we have an urge to evolve. We always had. We want to do this. It's a very simple philosophy. We're constantly trying to make some sort of contemporary favorite music.
Yeah.
And we like to explore. We like to explore different styles in music. I mean, we are not locked to a genre. I mean, we are music lovers. We're not genre lovers. We like, there's good music and there's bad music. That's it, you know.
Yeah.
And there's still so many good music to yet to discover. I mean, take the 60s, for instance, like the 70s, even the 80s. So many great releases you haven't even heard of so far. So,
Yeah.
so maybe in 10 years I will stop digging into the 2000s.
Yeah. Yeah, it must be exciting to be able to really not be painted into a corner like many of your peers have.
I mean, we never did that. I'm really glad we didn't, because people aren't expecting us to do like. We're not like the AC/DC of extreme metal, because we haven't never done that. I mean, Frost was really different from Viklingevelde. Eld was different from Frost, and so the fans are really not expecting us to go back to, the old school sound. I mean, it's still there. You can still hear it is enslaved. I mean, I think it's a red line through all the releases. The same energy, but I mean, inevitably things are changing during a lifespan of 32 years. Is it? Yeah, 32 years.
Yeah.
If we got stuck to a formula, I think we would stop after 3 albums, because it would be far too boring.
Right. Yeah.
In many ways, I could go with a phrase: "If it ain't broken, don't fix it." But just not with the band.
Yes. Yeah. That makes sense.
Because
now,
it is broken.
Everything's broken.
Constantly
always.
Broken.
Yeah. Is there any lines you wouldn't cross? Like when you guys are rehearsing or composing for a new album, do you find that if things are too left field, you have to pull back, or like all ideas welcome?
Basically, all our ideas are welcome.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, there are certain things I guess we're not able to. I mean, there's obviously a lot of music that we can never get into, because it's like we aren't genetic exposed to it or whatever. I mean, there's several music styles I can never picture myself being into. It's not going to be like a K-pop album from Enslaved, for instance.
What about a country?
I do listen to some country. It's not bad. So yeah, that can absolutely happen.
Cool.
I guess.
Yeah.
But Ivar is making the riffs. I'm not sure if he's that much into country, but
yeah.
I think I got a country record on my turntable at home. So the last album I listened to before I went to Bergen, it's actually a country album.
Okay. Yeah.
It's Gene Clark.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I'm not a huge country fan, but I do like have.
Yeah, you pick out some stuff.
Yeah, maybe have like 10, 20 country albums, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. I never counted, but yeah, it's in there. Yeah,
it's in there. Yeah. How big's your collection, if you don't mind me asking?
I don't know.
I know we met the guy from Old Funeral a few years ago at Garage, and he came up to us, and we were talking about vinyl, and he said, "I have about 2,000-3,000 vinyl. You should come check it out." We didn't end up checking it out, but I'm like, that's a hefty collection.
I think he's probably got like 3,000.
Torre.
Torre. He's a good friend of mine.
Yeah.
Let's say that I have like approximately a little more than half of his collection, maybe.
Right.
Something like that. So I don't know.
And is that how you consume your music? Is vinyl then? Is it?
Mostly because that's how I grew up. Locking myself into the boys' room and for a week when I finally could afford an album, reading the lyrics and looking at the cover and the details.
Yeah.
With binoculars, almost. So that's the way I always. That's the way I prefer to listen to music. But I do listen to music in the car, as we spoke about. Through like Bluetooth streaming. But I mean, I never stream music in my living room.
Right.
Like never.
Never? No.
No, I mean, I have never.
Is that a different space for you? Like you?
I have never gotten. Actually, I never thought of it. I never thought of it as a possibility.
Yeah.
So it's like in the living room, music, turntable.
Yeah. It takes what? You walk 10 steps, flip it over, and I feel like a lot of people are so lazy they can't even take those 10 steps to flip that out.
You still need a cold beer,
Yeah, right.
So, That said, I don't find that much time to sit down and listen to vinyl as much as I want to. But I mean, when I do, I don't think I have listened to a CD. Well, in the car, yeah.
Yeah.
But I think there's a CD player in the living room. I haven't used it in years.
Yeah. Nice.
So yeah, it's like, it's 100% vinyl.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Is there anything that fans might be surprised that you listen to? Like if you were to pick out one band, one vinyl from your collection, something that they go, there's no way he would listen to that. Is there one that you could pick out and be like, yeah, this is my closet album. I don't tell people about this one.
I mean, for me, there's no such thing as guilty pleasures. I mean, they're basically just pleasures.
Right, yeah.
But I do have one album that I haven't dared listening to yet, because I think it would be too far out. So I made a deal with a friend of mine that when he comes visit, if there's just the two of us in the living room, and if we are very drunk,
in the right frame,
yeah. I will put out this album and we will listen to it for the very first time. It's very silly. It's very silly. It's an album called Country Moog, and it's just country classics played on a Moog synthesizer, and the cover is like there's a human being in a cowboy hat and entirely made out of cables and knobs from synthesizers. So it's called Country Moog.
You got to be really drunk for that one.
I have had this album for 15 years. I have never listened to it.
Did you pick it up on a whim? Just saw that and was like,
I actually bought it. I found it like a a vinyl market,
right?
Like a vinyl market day.
Yeah.
And I found it in one of the discount boxes, like right before they closed down. It's like Country Moog. Yeah, I'm getting this one.
Amazing.
Yeah, but I haven't listened to it.
All right.
Not yet. I'm not sure if I'll ever do.
Yeah,
we'll see.
If the right moment presents itself.
I might bring it to the grave,
Well, everyone now is going to look into this, so you might have started something here.
Maybe. I don't think so.
If they can find it. Sounds
Country
like
classics played entirely on a Moog synthesizer.
Now, one last question. If there's one album that Enslaved could cover, it was just an all-cover album, but it's probably difficult because you have many different people in the band with different...
Covering an entire album by someone else?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good question. Wow. It obviously would have to be an album that we are able to cover, you know?
That makes sense for everybody
and
in the band.
that rules out Rush.
Come on, you do Rush covers in rehearsal ever?
Well, no, I'm not. Well, we have done one.
Yeah.
Well, let's do a Voivod album.
Yeah?
And they can do an Enslaved album.
It could be a split. How incredible would that be?
Let's do that, So
yeah.
So we can do... Wouldn't it be interesting if we did Angel Rat?
Yeah, might be interesting. I love that album.
Oh, me too.
Yeah. A lot of people don't, but I think it's an incredible album.
If people don't, they haven't been listening to it thoroughly, and not enough, because it's a great album.
Well, the problem is they're measuring it from the previous, but I think there was a sharp turn from previous Voivod albums to that, and maybe it was a little too much of a juxtaposition for a lot of fans. But for me, when I'm 50 years old, so I heard it when it came out, and I thought, this is fucking genius.
I bought it on cassette, I remember. I never saw the vinyl, but I found the cassette, and it took a couple of spins before I liked it. But yeah,
it's a grower, right?
Yeah, it's a grower, but I mean, it wasn't too unlogical from Nothing Face. I think it was pretty logical.
Yeah,
Different
I think
production.
actually Nothing Face was a little more out there, but it was. I
Yeah,
think
it was more trippy.
Yeah. But it was a great precursor.
Oh
to,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I love, and even love the Outer Limits. I think those 3 albums are fantastic. Great period.
If you had to pick one of those 3, which would be your favorite?
Probably Angel Rat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My favorite too.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool. So you would cover that, maybe?
Yeah, we'll cover that, and then Voivod can.
Oh yeah, okay.
Voivod can cover our latest album, Heimdall.
Do you think they're technically proficient enough to do that?
Oh, they would crush.
Yeah. It might be a little bit of a retelling, but that would be very cool. All right, we want to see this happen. So.
Sorry, guys. I didn't mean to. I was just.
Well, thanks again for taking the time. I really appreciate it. This is a great chat, and really looking forward to the set on Saturday. This is kind of a bucket list thing for us. So all the best on Saturday, and thanks again for joining us.
Thanks, James. Thanks, Kim.
Cheers. Bye, guys, from Bergen.